Dear students, welcome to all of you once again in session 3, part A. In this session, we shall be just discussing Ohm's law, experimental verification of Ohm's law, and how to find resistance from PI graph. The rest we shall be discussing in part B. So before starting, just I shall quote some lines. You are never given a wish without the power to make it come true. Only dreams or wish never reap. You may have to work for it. So you have to plan it, you have to work hard, and you are going to touch sky. Thank you. Now let's start. Now we are starting our new topic of part A, session 3. So now first of all, let's see what we are going to study here. So the first of all, you are getting a cell. This is a cell, and it is being represented by A. And you can see it has one positive terminal and another negative terminal. Now after that, one more cell is there. Now one more. It's cell or a battery? It's a battery. Yes, I said cell, but it's a battery. So it's a battery of how many cells? Yes, it is a battery of two cells. One cell this, another is two. This is second. So two cells are there and they are making a battery. Right. After this, one more battery is there. It has 1, 2, and 3. Three cells. Right. So now three cells are there. Now what do you think? Out of these three, which will give you highest amount of current? Highest amount of current will be given by A, by B, or C. Which will give you highest amount of current? Yes, so some of you must be giving answer that is C, because here three cells are joined together, right? Three cells are joined together, so therefore there what is more? Voltage is more. The potential difference is more. Voltage is more here. In this case, only two cells are there. Here, two cells are combined, and here only one cell. So this means the amount of current which is obtained when we use this cell A will be less than the amount of or magnitude of current obtained from B battery, which is of two cells. And the highest amount of highest amount of electric current means the magnitude of current will be the highest when we use this battery, because here three cells are joined together to each other. From this, what do we come to know? That when we increase a potential difference here, potential difference is more, the potential of this battery is higher than this, and the potential of this battery is higher than this. So when we get a relationship between potential difference and electric current. So higher is the potential difference here when we use this, then highest will be the amount of current, right, among all these three. So this was proved by a scientist his name is George Simon Ohm. George Simon Ohm, and his law gives the relationship between potential difference. And now we are going to just discuss this Ohm's law, that how he established the relationship between potential difference and electric current passing through a conductor. Means when potential difference is applied across the ends of a conductor and then current passing through the conductor. By experimental verification, he found this relationship which we have discussed earlier, that electric current passing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference applied across the ends of the conductor. That if we go on increasing the potential difference voltage, then obviously the electric current will also increase. Or we can say that V is directly proportional to I. So he said that the electric current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference across the ends of the conductor, provided this condition is very, very important. If you don't write this condition, you are going to lose half mark for this. If it is one for definition for 1 mark, provided the temperature and other physical conditions like length of the conductor which we are using to find the resistance should remain, its length should not change, and area of cross section should also not change. of the conductor remains the same, and above all the temperature, it should not be heated up, it should not be left on continuously. Current should not be allowed to pass through the conductor, right? So here if we get the value of I, then we can't get the value of V, exact value of V. So the relationship, the sign of proportionality is replaced by this R, where R is the constant of proportionality and is known as resistance of the conductor. So here the relationship, because it is directly proportional to electric current passing through the conductor. So therefore, the ratio of this V and I remains a constant, and this constant is represented by R, and R is known as R for resistance and R for resistance means opposition. R is known as a resistance of the conductor, means resistance means conducting wire, it is opposing the flow of electric current. How much flow it is providing to the free electrons. So V upon I, we get a constant. So here when we draw a graph between V and I after taking the different values of I and V, we find R, then we get a straight line. This, okay, this means there is a constant relation. V upon I will remain same for every value. So this we get a straight line, then we say that Ohm's law is verified. Now how to do this? Now we shall be discussing, right? Now, what is the setup for Ohm's law in school labs? How will you do this experiment? How you will set up the various electrical components used here in Ohm's law? This is very important. Generally in school, students are given the setup, but you should learn how to set up different components, how to join them. You should learn on your own also. So first of all, we take voltmeter. Here it is mentioned V, and here you can see this needle is at 0, means it is free from zero error. It is free from zero error. It has two terminals, positive and negative. Two terminals are there. Now after this, we take the nichrome wire as a conductor whose resistance we have to find. So nichrome in labs is taken as a resistance wire whose resistance we have to find. So here we join these two terminals with this nichrome wire. It's a piece of nichrome wire. It's very hard and it's like that only. And same I have used here. So this is nichrome wire. So this one setup, and after this we take, this is conducting wire. It is insulated conducting wire. Insulation is there, and you have to remove the insulation from the ends, otherwise the current will not flow, right? So we have to remove the insulation, we have to rub this end, so therefore insulation is removed, then we can use it. Now after this we take rheostat. This is the rheostat, and it is used, what is the function of this we shall be studying here in next topic. Rheostat is used to just change the electric current passing through the conductor. This is resistance wire whose resistance we have to find out. So here it has three terminals. It is very important here how to join this rheostat. Here three terminals are there, A, B and C. But remember, when we are doing this Ohm's law experiment, we never join these two terminals. A and B are never joined. Okay, if you join A and B, then you will not get this true. You will not be able to prove Ohm's law here, right? Then there will be no role of this slider. This slider, it changes the length of the wire. So by changing the length of the wire, we change the amount of current, magnitude of the current passing through the conductor. Only then we shall be able to do it. So therefore, next wire, so this conductor has been joined here. Okay, so we have to avoid this. Diagonally we join. Remember this, diagonally, right? So now we take third piece of wire. This is again conducting, insulated conducting wire, copper. Here we use because it's a good conductor of electricity. It is joined to this terminal, right? It's very easy, and you should learn. All of you should learn how to join this, right? So this is conducting wire. Okay, now these two have been joined. So when we move this slider, then the length of the wire will change. It is a coiled wire. It's coiled wire, okay, made of magnet. So by changing this length, resistance is changed, and resistance is changed, then amount of current is changed by keeping the potential difference same, right? So now after this, we take battery eliminator. It's very, very important. Most of you don't know what is the use of battery eliminator. So this second end is joined to this, right? Battery eliminator, this terminal. Now you can see it is eliminator, battery eliminator. First of all, it is battery which is providing you electric current. And eliminate means to remove. So there are two functions of this battery eliminator, right? So first of all, it converts AC into DC, AC into DC, because we are getting AC current, right? In school and in homes, in industries, everywhere we are getting AC current. So AC is converted into DC. Second, it converts high voltage, which is coming to our electric circuits. It converts that high voltage into low voltage. You can see it can convert up to 12 voltage. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, right? So it can convert. It has two functions. Number one, you should write down here a notebook. AC into DC. Number two, it converts high voltage into low voltage. Instead of using batteries, we use battery eliminator in our schools. Now after this, now the second conducting piece of conducting wire is taken. Now it is connected to this terminal. It's very, very simple. Just see how it is being joined. Now ammeter we are taking to see the magnitude of current, to measure the magnitude of current. Again here pointer is at 0. It is free from zero error. Means it will give you correct value. Now after this, one more conducting wire. So now this terminal is connected to this terminal to conducting wire. Every time you have to see whether insulation of the ends is removed or not. This is very, very important point, right? Now you can see how ammeter is connected. It is plus red and it is connected to red. This way you can remember. This is black and it is connected to this side black. This means negative to negative, positive to positive, right? Now last, now this plug of battery eliminator is connected to AC mains, and here it is switched on. Current is switched on. It is on. You can see it is on, right? So here when current is switched on, what we have to do? We have to note down the reading of ammeter. How can we do this? By sliding this. When you just slide it, when you switch it on, it is in on position. Then it will it will show a red color. This means power is being supplied. So when you move on this, by just moving, sliding on this, you will see this pointer will move on ammeter scale. And when this is moving, this will also show movement. Any problem here? No. So first of all, you should start with minimum value. So when you just using this slider, when you just bring it on the second division, suppose you are bringing it on the second division. I am talking about the division, not number, second number. So here 0, it is 1. So when we are bringing it to the second division, then we shall note down a pointer is at what division. So we have to note down the read here position of pointer on ammeter and in voltmeter. Any problem? Yes, you can note it down, right? Now observation table for Ohm's law. This is very, very important experiment because the question related to this is asked in board exams also. Here observation table you have to make ammeter reading, voltmeter reading, and this R we have to get. Ammeter reading, it measures current in ampere. Voltmeter reading, it measures potential difference V in volt. Symbol is V again. Here serial number, how many readings you are taking, number of divisions, least count. Here this way you should note down the reading. It's very, very important. Here same way, number of divisions, I said it is on the second division. Just we were discussing least count of the ammeter, given ammeter. You can have ammeter another least count here in your school. So here I am using least count of 0.5 ammeter. Then 2 into 0.5, we get the correct reading. Now we get the exact value. This is not giving us the amount of current, magnitude of current. Number of division to least count gives us magnitude of electric current, which is denoted by A for ampere. Same way now, when a meter reading is at 2, then voltmeter, its need is around 6th division. So 6 into least count of a meter is also 0.5. So exact value of what will be the potential difference value of potential difference? That will be 6 into 0.5. And now how to get R? We know that R is equal to V upon I. So 6 into 0.5, 2 into 0.5 cancel, we get how much? How much? You should write down your notebook. 3 ohms. 3 ohm. Ohm is the unit of resistance. So this way you can go. Now you can just using slider, you can increase the number of division 2 to 3, and then it comes to 9. It may come to 8 also. It may come to 10 also, because we don't get very ideal conditions in lab. So same with 3 into here 0.5, it will remain same. It will remain same. These will change. When these will change, it remains same. These readings will also change. Then it will be 3 into 0.5. Here 9. This will remain same. You should write down, completely write down. Then 9 into 0.5, and then you can get value. After taking, because you may not always get the same ratio, so there may be some variation. So therefore we go for mean resistance. Don't write mean, always write complete sentence. Mean resistance, R1, R2, R3. If you are taking 3 readings, then R1, R2, R3 divided by 3, you will get the answer, right? Mean resistance of the given conductor is whatever answer you write, you should note it down in your notebook. So this is the table which is not generally given in all books. I am 100% sure that you will be able to understand from this, right? Now, now we have to draw a circuit diagram for this setup. Now we have to draw the circuit diagram for this setup in our practical notebook or in theory notebook. And we have studied earlier that what is a circuit diagram. Again, I am explaining. It is a diagram. It is a diagram which shows how various electrical components, like here we have used voltmeter, we have used ammeter, we have used rheostat, we have used battery eliminator, conducting wires. How these can be represented in a circuit diagram. So they are represented with the help of their symbols. Now let's see how. So now you are getting this diagram here. You can see ammeter. It is A for ammeter, plus, minus, positive, negative. It is here cell, but we are using battery eliminator. So you can just kind of remove this sign in place of, you can make battery eliminator, 2 more, right? You know the symbol of battery. Conducting wires, here the direction of the current, is it conventional direction? It is positive to negative, it is conventional direction. Actual direction is from negative to positive. Remember, some of you may get confused, right? That what direction has been shown here. So the direction which has been shown here is conventional, but in electric circuit, actual direction is there, that is from negative to positive, right? Here this is the resistance, means a nichrome wire. Here voltmeter, plus and minus, again minus is connected to plus, here plus is connected to plus, right? And that rheostat is missing, that we shall be getting in next slide. Now, so this was simple here. So this Ohm's law was given to us by Georg Simon Ohm, who was a German scientist. So to give him honor for the verification of this relationship between E and I, Ohm's law is also known as the means law which is giving us a relationship between V and I. To give him honor, the unit of resistance has been named Ohm, right? Now, so V upon R is equal to I, means the ratio of potential difference across the ends of the conductor and resistance is giving us I. Here means I is inversely proportional to resistance. Inversely proportional to resistance. So here it shows that electric current passing through a resistor, we shall be studying here what is a resistor, is inversely proportional to the resistance, provided, this is very important condition, voltage is constant. Voltage should remain constant. If we are using 12 volt, then it should be 12. So this keeps changing, then this I will also change. If it increases, it will decrease. If it decreases, it will increase. Inverse relation is there. One is increasing, another is decreasing. Here SI unit of resistance, just we have discussed, is ohm, and ohm is equal to 1 volt potential difference, unit of potential difference volt, and 1 ampere. So R is equal to V upon I, 1 volt upon 1 ampere. And Ohm's law is not strictly applicable to electrolytic solutions and semiconductors because they do not behave, they do not obey Ohm's law. So when we get the graph between V and I, we don't get a straight line. Don't get a straight line. This okay. Now this is this experimental setup for Ohm's law. That was earlier we were discussing only circuit diagram. This is for Ohm's law. Here is the battery. Here this is voltmeter. This is the nichrome wire, right? And ammeter. This is minus plus. You know, it's very important. We have discussed how voltmeter and ammeter are used. This is ammeter connected to key, but here in our setup we were using battery eliminator only, that is controlled by the switch. The switch is there. So here this is the rheostat which is used to change the amount of electric current passing through the nichrome wire, and this is the battery, right? Any problem here? Now move to next. Now, how do we represent this relationship on graph? How do we represent V and I? We are getting different values. How do we show them on graph, right? Now, look. So this is the first graph. This is first graph here, VI graph. Here I is on this x-axis. This means I is independent. We can control I, and then potential difference will change. So this is VI graph, and we have studied in class 9 that independent quantities are shown on x-axis and dependent quantities on y-axis. Here current is we can increasing or decreasing using this rheostat, and potential difference is changed. When we plot the graph between V and I, as we have done in a table here, right, we always get a straight line. We always get a straight line, right, starting from this 0. Now from this line, this gives us the resistance. This gives us the resistance, right? This gradient PQ, it gives the resistance. If you have to find out the resistance from 2 to 5 ampere here, this milliampere, then it is joined here. It is going straight here, right? And after this line, this 5 minus 2, note down, 5 minus 2, 3 milliampere. And what is voltage here? You can read, it is coming to this, right? And here this, the difference between A and B will give you delta. This triangle delta V means difference between this value and this value. Same way delta I, difference between this value and this value. It will give you value of resistance. This PQ is representing resistance here, right? So this way we can get resistance from the simple VI graph. You can plot different graphs from the tables. I shall be giving you exercise also, and then you can find the values. The complete chapter will be covered with examples, with exercises, right, and with good practice. Now second graph. Now this is the second graph. Here you can see a straight line is there between these two, but there is a difference of here. Only one thing, voltage is here on x-axis and current is on y-axis. right? Now from this, how to get R? How to get R? So here R, we know that it is V upon I, but here you are getting I, delta I here, and this way. So here in this case, resistance we find this way: 1 upon R is equal to delta I. This is perpendicular, and this is base, and this gives us gradient. This value will give you resistance. So here delta I upon delta V, and this gives you 1 upon R. Then after getting value of R, what will happen? It will be reverse, then you will get the value of resistance. Here this is called IV graph. Here V is independent and I is dependent on voltage, right? One example we are taking in next topic, and you will be able to understand, right? Simply you have to go for calculation, then how will you get it? Just we are going to see, right? Patience will help you. Patience always pays, right? Now here you can see uh, this is one example how to get the resistance from the graph, VI graph. Here resistance we know we have done because it is VI graph here. Here this is V is on x-axis and I is this y-axis. Current is dependent on voltage. So in this case, when V is here on x-axis, I is on y-axis. Remember, this is again very important. You have to remember this. In this case, resistance is equal to 1 upon gradient, right? Gradient means this line, right? Here in this case, what will happen? This is you have to get this perpendicular line. This is resistance. This is hypotenuse. If you go for trigonometry, this is hypotenuse and perpendicular upon base. Perpendicular is here current. And this is how much here? 2. And here, what is base here? It is 5. So 2 upon 5. What do you get? 2 upon 5, you get 0.4. 0.4. But here, this is the value of gradient. 0.4 you have to write here. So what will be the resistance here? That will be 1 upon 0.4 means 2.5 ohm. 2.5 ohm will be the resistance from this to this voltage, right? Same way you can go for this also. Here if you go for this is how much? 10, 4. It is how much? 4. And here it is how much? Note down in notebook. It is how much? 10. So here what will be there? 4 upon 10. And then you can find out. Do practice it, right, in your notebook. Now this is the second example here. This is for nichrome wire. This is for copper wire. This is for nichrome wire. Here same thing is there, and just you can calculate. Just practice it. Again you will be given some numericals. Again I shall be taking after completing next topic, I shall be taking examples and will explain you again. Right? Any problem? Just think again. Yes? When we struggle, we learn more. You will be learning. When you try to think on your own, you will learn more. Now, some numericals we are going to discuss here. I am taking 2 examples, and after that, resistance and on what factor does it depend? What is the resistance? We shall be discussing in part 2 of session 3. Here you have been given this diagram here, and you are asked what is the resistance of the circuit here. Here it is above, like, but the diagram is here this side. Here how do we get? What is given? V, potential difference. A, current is given but in milliampere. It's, you have to remember, milliampere. It's not ampere. Here generally we make mistakes. in hurry we don't see the units. So you have to see, it's very important to see unit. So here first of all this 120 milliampere is converted into ampere by dividing 1000. It becomes 0.120 ampere. V is how much? 12. You should write down here given. I have not written here given. It is given to find the solution. This is the best way to solve the numericals. So V is here 12, given 12. I is 0.120. So simply here point is after 1, 2, 3 zeros, and you can, you can do? Simply you can, what you can do? Simply you can write down here 1, then 2, and then how many zeros you can write down? 1, 2, and then how many zeros? One more, 3, and this is divided by 1, 2, and 0, because point was here, the point has been removed now, right? So 3 zeros are there because point was after 3 digits, right? So what do we get here? What do we get here? We get 100. We get 100. So 100 ohm is the resistance. 100 ohm is the resistance. Right here, value of this resistance is 100 ohm. Same way, if there is a 220 ohm resistor in the circuit above, what is the current here? Okay, again you can find out simply using this formula, R is equal to VI or V is equal to IR. Now one more numerical is there for practice, right? Now a potential difference of 10 volt is applied. Here potential difference I have written here given. Given is potential difference 10 volt. Resistance is how much? 20 ohm. This is important to note down, right? Given helps us a lot to solve the problem, right? Now what we have to find out? To find electric current, question mark, this will help you. Solution, since we know that, we must use this term. Since we know that, means we are using acquired knowledge. Previously gained knowledge is being used in the problem. V is equal to IR, we know from Ohm's law. Just put the value. V is 10, I you have to find out, and resistance is 25. Then I is equal to 10 upon 25. Now how to get it? Bring it to the nearest 0. 25 into 4. 25 into 4, it makes it 100, right? So here what do we do? So here this is 10. 10 is multiplied by how much? 4. And in denominator it is 25. Here I am trying to write into 4. Into 4. What do we get here? We get 40 and upon here 100, right? So it is very easy. 1 0 cancel, or you simply 1 2 zeros are there, you can write, you can put point after 2 zeros, means point will be here, it becomes 0.4 ampere. This way you can use mathematics and it will help you in higher classes also. Now more example is there. Now you can understand, and I'm sure you must have understood these topics very nicely. And if you have any problem, we shall be discussing again when I go for second part, right? Till then, thank you very much. God bless you. Keep on planning and how to get good marks, and have faith in God. God bless you. Thank you.